Hanauer.
Chip Hanauer takes the championship. Chip Hanauer sees the checkered flag flying high. And yes, Chip Hanauer, winner.
Today, Chip Hanauer returns after a 3-year absence from the sport that he dominated for years. Stories to tell you this entire season on ESPN2. And we get our first look at the Miss Pico boat, Chip Hanauer, in his first race back after a 3-year layoff, Steve.
Qualified. Since leaving the Budweiser team in the mid-90s, Chip Hanauer had stated repeatedly he would not be back in boat racing until the right opportunity presented itself. Many of us feared that opportunity might never come along, but the Progressive Tool Company of Detroit, nicknamed Pico, and their very strong racing team made the call during the off-season. Now we've got a new combination. The winningest living driver in unlimited hydroplane racing, one of the strongest teams of the last decade. How will they come together? Well, we're about to find out.
And Steve, as we told you earlier, Chip won his first heat back in the water, and it truly was an emotional scene on the dock.
See one big story already. We're approaching the start line now. It's about 1,000 feet away. You see the Pico out ahead. The Budweiser is not in lane 1. He's out in lane 3. That is Greg Hopp on the inside in the commercial sealants now. Here comes the Budweiser. If he times it right, he's going to have a big advantage here, but he has to slow down, and the Pico's going to go by him.
Wow, timing really of the essence at that start line. It looked like Miss Budweiser had things timed out perfectly, but not to be. And
there he is, way on the outside. He's back in 4th place right now. And Rich, we could have quite a story brewing here.
Quite a story indeed.
Vilwalk has moved up past Mark Webber in Miss Havasu into 3rd place. He appears to be gaining on the leaders. This is the first of 5 laps, so we have a long ways to go. Can Hanauer hold off Vilwalk, who did not get a good start? This is going to be exciting to watch.
It's certainly going to come down to the final lap of this race, but right now Chip Hanauer has the lead. And another story we've been following throughout this show is Greg Hopp, the rookie driver, in 2nd place. But Steve, look at Miss Budweiser coming on strong and taking over 2nd place.
Definitely gaining on both the 1st and 2nd place boats. Now the Budweiser up into 2nd, and Dave Vilwalk is driving foot to the floor. Now let's go back to the start, Rich. From our O'Doul's eye in the sky, you see Vilwalk was out ahead of the field as he approached the start-finish line. Apparently, he was early. Right here, he had to back off, and you see how badly that cost him, as both Mark Webber and Chip Hanauer went by him and gained an advantage that may last throughout this heat. There it is from another view, a tremendous start by Hanauer. He hit it right on the zeros. So far, that's been the story of this final heat.
Steve, you got to be good to be lucky, and you got to be lucky to be good. And I think Chip was a little bit of both at that start line. Like you said, couldn't have timed it any more perfectly, and that's paid off so far with a nice 2 or 3 rooster tail lead for Chip Hanauer.
At speed, these hydroplanes are covering a football field per second, Rich. So to time it perfectly and have your nose right at the start line as the clock ticks down to 0 is a good trick, even if you've been racing, which Hanauer has not been. So a tremendous job by Chip to put his nose right on the line. You think this Pico crew is a little excited? Long ways to go in this race, but look at the lead that their driver has over the defending world and national champion right now.
Well, how much more drama could we have in this final, Steve? Chip Hanauer leading the pack right now. Miss Budweiser, a bad start as we documented, but has come all the way back and is in 2nd place. Vilwalk and Hanauer going at it head-to-head. You couldn't ask for a better final.
You saw Chip there swing just a little bit wide. The leader can kind of dictate the radius of the turn. Vilwalk has to react to him, and right now we have to say the Budweiser has not gained much on the Pico. You see Vilwalk taking a look inside. He said, okay, Chip, you went wide. I'll take a look inside, but when it went over there, Hanauer shut the door. Hanauer definitely has this thing in his control. If his boat speed stays up, it looks like Vilwalk's going to have trouble catching him.
We are coming up on the final lap of the Unlimited Hydros final, and it has been Chip Hanauer from the start, building its lead and not relinquishing a bit. He's been driving fantastically throughout this day, and especially in the final. Originally, it was Mark Webber and Greg Hopp giving chase. Now it's Mitch Budweiser, but Steve, it doesn't look like even Dave Villwock is going to catch Chip Hanauer.
Hanauer through turns 1 and 2 for the final time. Now he's on the back straightaway. A little bit of a surprise here at the performance of this boat. The Pico did not handle or run this well in 1998. Is it all the driver? Well, who knows? But the crew obviously has given Chip a strong race boat, and not only does it make for an exciting day, but it gives us a tremendous season of racing to look forward to here in 99 as Hanauer turns toward the checkered flag for the final time.
The O'Doul's Eye in the Sky captures it, and the drama has come to an end. Chip Hanauer puts the exclamation point on a fantastic day of racing, and yeah, the Miss Pico team can celebrate. Chip Hanauer.
Welcome back.
I can't believe it. I cannot believe it.
The thing ran for you, didn't it?
It ran because of him. We struggled all week, and Ken just stays very focused, and he gave me the best boat we've had all week when I needed it.
Looking forward to 99 now, huh?
Oh, no, I'm not looking past about midnight tonight. I haven't driven one of these things for 3 years, and I'm going to have so much fun tonight.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Steve.
Fred Leland couldn't have asked for a better finish to a great way to start the 99 season.
No, it turned out really great. It was really good that the competition was so great, and the people in Havasu put on such a great race, and the whole day went very well.
Who are you happiest for? You got to be happy for everyone. Anyone in particular?
All my sponsors, all my crew, everybody that's associated with my boat.
Well, congratulations.
Under the bridge for the run down to start finish, and you see the Budweiser, the Pico, is off to his left. A big story there, Rich, as Chip Hanauer is going to have the inside. Here's the start. They're a little late, actually. A legal start. Jim Harvey's boat. Steve David making a great start on the outside.
From the O'Doul's Eye in the Sky, you see the Pico in front. There's Budweiser second, and there's Greg Hoppin third.
Where the Budweiser's in trouble. Oh, we have a crash.
The Budweiser is overturned underwater. Unbelievable what happened. It looked like he ran into Hop's rooster tail.
That's exactly what happened, Rich. The Budweiser thundering into that turn somewhere between 190 and 200 miles per hour. Dave Villwock trying to hold his lane. Now watch him. The red boat, he's back a little bit, not in great position. He'll slide to the right just a little bit now and get into the skid fin rooster tail off of Greg Hopp's boat. The tremendous hydraulic pressure picks him up, turns him over.
A lot of damage to the Miss Budweiser boat as it goes upside down. Steve's on the docks with Bernie Little. In the final, it's deja vu all over again, Steve, but this time without Dave Villwock.
No Miss Budweiser in the final heat, so the favorite has to become Chip Hanauer. And as you can see, he has the inside. He's back there in the rooster tails, but a lot of boat speed beside him. Greg Hopp, Steve David, Mitch Evans, and the Appian Geronimo are all ahead of Chip at the start. It's a good start, Rich.
And look at Steve David burning ahead with the hammer down. The Appian on the outside in second place. Our O'Doul's Eye in the Sky catches Chip Hanauer with a terrific cornering job going into turn one, and he has the lead.
We saw Chip Hanauer wisely laying back a little bit conservative at the start, knowing he didn't have to win this race right at the start with no Budweiser, but he could lose it there if he got his nose over the line too soon. Right now, Steve David's the leader up the backstretch.
And look at Chip Hanauer, though, laying it down and catching up on the straightaway. Looks like he's going to pass Steve David. David doing a great job of getting out in front of him after that great turn by Hanauer. But right now, it's Chip Hanauer going into the second turn under the bridge, regaining the lead.
You saw Nate Brown just getting underway. He had some problems with the Lumar before the start. I called it a good start. The officials tell me I was wrong. Steve David in the black boat, Jim Harvey Motorsports, actually over the line. Way to the left of the picture, we saw Greg Hopp's boat going down as he got into a rooster tail.
And that's unfortunate for Steve David. We saw that happen to Phil Bonancini in the Unlimited Lights final. Looked like a great start, challenging for the lead. Lo and behold, you jump the start, you're all the way back in the pack.
Now look.
I'll talk to him. I'll say something.
Was it one of those spots you showed us on the tour, or did somebody get in the way?
No, everything was fine. Chip went out a little bit, and already Hopp was too close. Some team driving there, and I think, Chip moved out a little bit and got the boat in the air, and I went to the side a little bit, and then Hopp was already too close and pulling in, and so I went through his rooster tail out through the other way. So, but that's what happens. As I said before, some team driving looks on by my part, but I don't know what the referees will say.
You said you banged your knee a little bit, but you're okay.
Yeah, a lot better last time.
Well, Steve, these guys can laugh about it now, but it was pretty serious back in 1997 when Dave Villwock went upside down in Tri-Cities, lost 2 fingers off his right hand. Many surgeries later, he's obviously back and better than ever. But let's get back to the final now that's being run, and Chip Hanauer is indeed in first place.
On his way to perhaps his second victory of the year, and that will tie him with... The way Dave Villwock tells it, Chip moved out a little bit, and your other boat, the black and white one driven by Greg Hopp, moved in a little. He's talking team driving. Anything to that?
Not that I know about, but then Dave's a real crybaby, so we'll have to wait and see what the referee calls.
You didn't tell him to get together like that?
No, I didn't tell him anything.
That kind of...
This boat was floating right up here in this end of the race course. And there he is, right in front of our picture. Greg Hopp, a DNF, a disappointing day to what had been a very, very nice start. But the checkered flag's going to fly for Chip Hanauer. This will be a big celebration.
Miss Pico, the U100 boat, owner Fred Leland, driver Chip Hanauer, your winner of the Jasper, Indiana Governor's Cup.
Pull him over here.
Here, Chip.
Way to go!
Hey, it's a win. In fact, it's 2 already this season. How did number 60 feel?
It's a relief going out knowing the day was okay. I've been there. I've been in the corner in the Budweiser upside down, and anything can happen. So it was great news that he was okay. And then it was back down to business and try and win, and it worked out great.
Now you go on to Detroit. You got some history there, too, don't you?
You know what I hate about you media guys? You always want to talk about next week. I want to have fun this week. Detroit doesn't start till Thursday, and today isn't over till about 3 in the morning. Love you, Dad. Love you, Scott. Love you, Donna.
The 1999 Gold Cup. Look who has the inside, Mark Webber. Then it's Chip Hanauer in the Pico. Villwock and the Bud will be out in lane 3. Greg Hopp grabs lane 4. Chrysler, Jeep, and Steve David on the outside. Coming down to the start, 5 seconds. Watch the countdown. 3, 2, 1. It's a legal start. Mark Webber first across the line. The Pico right beside him. The Bud back a bit. Villwock has some traffic to get through here if he's going to contend.
A great way to start this race. You can sense that these drivers wanted to time it perfectly. The Bud has talked before about starting a little later and catching up to the field with his superior speed and cornering abilities. That's what he's trying to do right now. But right now, from the O'Doul's eye in the sky, it is Miss Pico and Chip Hanauer with that lead.
Right there, the Budweiser actually moved from 3rd place up into 2nd as he got by Mark Webber. Right now, the 2nd and 3rd place boats are neck and neck, but look at the Pico go. We have not seen this boat run like this today. Can Hanauer stay ahead of the Budweiser? He has 4.5 very long laps where he'd have to do that, but he has a great start here in the final heat of the 99 Gold Cup.
And look at the turning ability of Chip Hanauer around the rooster tail turn. Jackie Leland loves what she sees so far, but we talked about it earlier, Steve. It's a 5-lap marathon, and Chip Hanauer, as good as he is still going to have to come up with one of the best races of his life to hold off Dave Villwock.
We saw it in one of the preliminaries. Hanauer had a bigger lead than this, and Villwock drove around him, but I don't think Miss Pico was running like she is right now. This is the fastest this boat has looked all season.
From the O'Doul's eye in the sky, you see about a rooster tail lead for Chip Hanauer as they go into the Belle Isle curve turn, and Dave Villwock has his work cut out for him.
Hanauer has built the lead. He is further ahead of the Budweiser than he was last time through the Belle Isle turn. 1.5 laps down now, 3.5 to go, and we could have quite a story developing here.
What a look at Chip Hanauer as he is leading the field, and everyone's been running so well in the Detroit River. Greg Hopp, Mark Webber, Dave Villwock, and Hanauer, of course, but everyone else is being left in the dust right now. Chip Hanauer is leading this field, and Bernie Little is urging on Miss Budweiser. Who knows if Bud's got it in his gas tank?
You can see exactly what Bernie was saying. Go get him. Go get him. He has a lot of time left. Look at Hanauer fly that boat. He is walking sponson to sponson at 200 miles per hour, and I'm sure the last thing on his mind, Rich, is that 3 years ago he went on his head right there and nearly ended his career, if not his life.
From the O'Doul's eye in the sky, you see Chip Hanauer maintaining the lead on Dave Villwock. Steve, we tried to talk to Chip before the race. We tried to talk to Fred Leland before the race. Neither of them were talking to the media. They knew they had to get their heads together, a meeting of the minds, a brain trust, if you will, to get this race under their belts. And right now they are running the race of their lives, beating Dave Villwock at this point for the 99 APBA Gold Cup, the last Gold Cup of the millennium.
Hundreds of thousands of fans up and down the Detroit River here. realizing that Budweiser is not catching Miss Pico. They have to be as shocked as Dave Villwock is. The Progressive Tool Company, Pico, is headquartered in Detroit. They have thousands of fans here. I think most of them are in the pits, Rich, and they're going crazy. But here comes the Bud. He's on the inside now. He can't keep it in there. He has to go back across the wake of the Pico.
And if he stayed inside that inside lane and tried to get his nose in there, Steve, he might have risked turning that boat upside down, getting caught in Chip's rooster tail. He thought better of it, staying back in second place. We are about 1 3/4 of a lap to go in this final. Greg Hopp currently running in fourth, just behind the third place driver right now, Mark Webber. And there is Miss Chrysler Jeep, Steve David, another popular boat here in Detroit, in fifth. But it's Chip Hanauer continuing to lead this race.
This crowd, these crews, these owners shocked that the Budweiser has not been able to make up some of this lead that Hanauer has established. The white flag flies. Could it be that Chip Hanauer's 61st career victory will be his 11th Gold Cup? He has to hold off Villwock and the Budweiser one more lap, Rich.
And that is a great shot. Dave Villwock has indeed come up to the inside lane, but he still hasn't made up any ground. There's Mark Webber fighting for third place with Greg Hopp and Steve David, two very formidable drivers behind him.
That water looks a lot smoother than it is from the O'Doul's eye in the sky as the Pico is pounding through that big, sweeping 1,500-foot Belle Isle turn. A little over half a lap now for Hanauer. The Budweiser would have to pull off a miracle here to catch him, and we're going to have a big story if this is the way this Gold Cup ends.
And Steve, as much as Chip Hanauer enjoys racing on the Detroit River, I'm sure right now what's going through his mind is, I cannot wait for this race to be over to see that checkered flag. It can't come too soon for Chip and the Miss Pico.
Every one of those holes in this very rough river looks twice as deep right now. For Chip Hanauer, around the rooster tail turn, the checkered flag flies. Miss Pico and Chip Hanauer have won the 1999 Gold Cup, defeating everything you had till it counted, didn't you?
No, these guys kept telling me to be patient. Telling me to be patient. Larry, thank you.
Man, what a wonderful race you ran.
They just said, be patient. We got behind, you know, and we couldn't get in the water on Thursday, and we couldn't get in the water on Friday. They said, hang in there, we'll figure it out. And Ken Dryden figured it out. Ken's a great guy.
Chip, you've won so many Gold Cups. How does this one compare?
I'd say this is the second best. The first one, it's like your first kiss. Nothing ever comes close to that. But after that, this is the one. This is the one.
We hope you enjoyed watching it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. For Steve Montgomery, I'm Rich Hollenberg. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com. So long from Detroit.
Gee, I guess now I'm the defending champion.